Hey everyone, how are you? This is Mr. Murray. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving and you're enjoying this weekend. So this video will be nice and short, and I think it's a nice topic for you to work on over a holiday because it's really easy and you should be able to take care of this really fast. Um, so we're going to go on the video worksheet right now, but before I do, just a little background into what we're aiming towards, why are we even doing this, okay? So if we had something like this, you've got x squared minus 5x plus 6. And if you were asked to factor this, it would be quite simple. By now, because you guys are all great at factoring, it would be x minus 3, x minus 2. Very cool. And the test would be to FOIL these, and you should get back to where you started. But what this is really saying is that if you took x squared minus 5x plus 6 and you divided it by one of these factors, so let's just randomly say x minus 3, your result should be x minus 2. So where we've been lately is dividing rational expressions where it was really easy. For example, we were taking 2x to the third minus 4x squared, and we were dividing it by something like, I don't know, 2x. That's cake because this goes into that term nicely, this goes into that term nicely. But when you have a binomial in the bottom, it's not that easy to divide. So imagine you had this. Imagine you were dividing by x plus 7. That's not so nice. So this topic that we're getting into now, long division, is a way to do this. And I think once we go through a couple of examples, you'll see it's very easy. It can just be sort of a little bit ugly at the end, and I'll show you what that is. Okay, so let's go. So we start out by doing something very simple, just to get you to the idea of what is long division. So if you wanted to take 512 divided by 4, here's how we're going to set it up. Underneath a division bracket, and put your 4 on the outside. So what are you asking yourself when you do this division? You're saying, okay, does 4 go into my first number? How can I make 4 go into this first number? Well, 5 is certainly bigger than 4, so 4 goes into it, and I would say it goes in once. So you put the 1 up here. Now you take this 1, multiply it by 4, and what do you get? 4. So let's get into the habit right now of putting everything in parentheses down here with a minus sign outside. This will be very, very helpful later. Okay, so 5 minus 4 is 1. Then you bring down the next number. So we have 11. How many times does 4 go into 11? I would say twice. 2 times 4 is 8. Let's put that in parentheses with the subtraction symbol. 11 minus 8, 3. Let's bring down the last number, which is a 2. And 4 goes into 32 8 times. 8 times 4 is 32. Parentheses, subtraction, 0. Okay, that's long division. You should remember this from, oh God, I don't know, elementary school. So how could you write this answer? Well, you could just say 128. You could say 128 remainder 0. Or something we'll be using today, a little more fancy, 128 plus 0 over 4. More on that in a minute. Okay, let's do the next one. 4 into 513. Same story as last time, but you could see there's probably something going on at the end. So we're going to say 1, 4 minus 1. Bring down the other 1. That's a 2, 8, subtract 3, bring down the other 3. And then here's the problem. 4 goes into 33. I would say 8 times, like the last question. That gives me 32. And there's a 1. All right, so here it is. Here's where there's a remainder. So now you're going to say 4 goes into 513 128 times with a remainder of 1, or 128 plus 1 out of 4. Now the cool thing is we can verify that with your calculator, because if you know that 1 over 4 is a quarter, watch what happens in your calculator when we say this. There you go, 128.25. So that's our quarter. Okay, so here's why we're here today. This is what we want to work on. How do you divide these two? So let me write them in the long division format. So x minus 2 is going on the outside. Then on the inside, 6x cubed minus 19x squared plus 16x minus 4. I usually wait to the end to draw this so that it's neat. So just think about the first term. This is how we're going to do this. How do you get from this x to be 6x cubed? That's all you have to worry about. Don't think about this second term. Not necessary right now. Okay, so if you know that, this is going to go pretty easily. Watch. Okay, how do you go from x to 6x cubed? I would say 6x squared times. Now let's multiply 6x squared times this guy. So you have 6x cubed, which is what we wanted, minus 12x squared, in parentheses with a subtraction sign on the outside. Okay, so 6x cubed minus 6x cubed, nothing. Beautiful. Negative 19x squared, subtract negative 12x squared. Well, that turns into addition. So now we're left with 7x squared negative. Just like in our first example, bring down the next term, so that would be a plus 16x. Now ask yourself again, how do you go from this x to negative 7x squared? I would say multiply by negative 7x. Now we multiply and you get negative 7x squared as expected, and then negative 7x times negative 2 would be positive 14x. Let's put that in parentheses with subtraction. Okay, negative 7x, subtract negative 7x squared, they go away. That's what we wanted. 16x, subtract 14x, okay, that's 2x's. Bring down your last term, that would be a negative 4. And again, from the first term, how could we get this first term, which is x, to be 2x? That would be multiplying by positive 2. Now let's go again. 2 times x, 2x. 2 times negative 2, negative 4. Parentheses, subtraction. What do we have? Oh, this is nice. 0. Perfect. So what is our answer? Okay, 6x squared minus 7x plus 2, remainder 0. Or, because this is going to help later, so don't cop out right now, stay with me, 6x squared minus 7x plus 2 plus 0 over x minus 2. Okay, some definitions. Let's draw this division bracket again. Okay? The outside term is called the divisor. The inside term is called the dividend. And the result is, dotting my I's, the result is called the quotient. And the way I was talking about factoring and how you can multiply your factors to get back to the dividend, looks like this in a very formal way. So let's write this down also, then we'll be done and we'll just do some more examples. So dividend, the number inside, should be equal to your quotient times your divisor plus any remainder that you might have. Okay? So these are very important notes. Short as they are, very important. Let's go on and do another example. What I'd like you to do now is try this on your own, and the next thing you'll see is the answer. I'm not going to walk it through with you to save you some time. So give yourself a few minutes, pause this video. When you come back, the answer will splash up on your screen.
Thank you so much. These hoes ain't loyal. Where's the turkey?
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Be sure to spend the day with your
Mom,
and
sisters,
and just your
family
in general.
Welcome to the Hunger Games.
This is Thanksgiving!
That is mahogany.
Okay, so for this one, number 3, here are some things that are very important. If you notice, you've got a 4 and a 2 exponent, and there's no constant. So we need to use placeholders. You can see them on the side of the worksheet you're working on right now. What that means is when I do this, x minus 4, and I'm going to divide that into 4x to the 4th, I've got to put a placeholder for the third. I can't leave it out. So what we'll say is plus 0 x to the third. Now you've got your second, 4x to the second. You've got your 1, so to speak, right? That's a 1. So you've got plus 6x. But now there's no constant, so let's add that in by just saying plus 0. And then we'll do this whole nice line right here. Oh god, that's horrible. Okay, that's not exactly very straight. Once you do that, you're good to go. It's the same procedure as before, and on this question, I want you to follow along because it'll also have a very crazy remainder. And I want you to know that you will find these types of questions on quizzes, tests, worksheets, Regents exams. I don't want you to think that a crazy remainder is not any good. So follow me along and watch what happens. Okay, number 1, how do you get from x to 4x to the 4th? That's how we do this. We just look at the first term and say, how do you get to there? So I would say 4x to the third. Okay, let's multiply, parentheses, and subtraction. 4x to the 4th. Whoa, this is way too thick. Hang on. There we go. 4x to the 4th minus 16x cubed. Let's subtract these. They go away. Very nice. Now, here's that 0 that we filled in, and this is how this is going to work. What is 0? Subtract negative 16x cubed. Well, that double negative turns into a positive, so we just end up with positive 16x cubed. Now you bring down your next term, minus 4x squared. Awesome. How do you get from x to 16x cubed? I would say multiply by 16x squared. Okay, subtracting these, those go away. Negative 4 subtract negative 64, well that turns into addition. So you end up with positive 60x squared. Bring down your next term, positive 6x. I would say, how do you go from x to 60x squared? that would be multiplying by 60x. Okay, these go away. Now here's where the numbers get a little bit crazy. 246x. Bring down your last term, plus 0. And how do you go from x to 246x? You multiply by 246. Subtraction sign, parentheses. Okay, so there it is, 984. That's the remainder. So your final answer will look like this. 4x cubed plus 16x squared plus 60x plus 246 plus 984 over x minus 4. That crazy answer is totally acceptable and it's accurate. So you have to be comfortable with this, knowing that remainders can be very, very dicey. Now, the cool thing coming up on our next topic is that when there is no remainder, you've actually found something really cool. You've proven that your divisor is actually a factor of the dividend. So that's the remainder theorem, which is coming up next time, and that's pretty nice. So if you have a remainder, don't stress. If you don't have a remainder, that's awesome, and it actually proves that you found a factor, which is really, really cool. Okay, for the next one, I will just do all the work and show it to you at the end. So please pause the video, try it on your own. It will also have a crazy remainder, so don't think that it shouldn't. And let's see if we match up, okay? All right, pause the video, be back in a second. Okay, so there's our answer right here. And I wanted you to notice that we had to add this because it was missing. So very important that you have your exponents lined up in order, 3, 2, 1, with your constant, and that none are missing. When they're missing, fill them in with zeros and you should be just fine. Okay? Enjoy the rest of your weekend. See you on Monday.